and welcome to another Warhammer 40,000 Battle Report brought to you by the Legion Wargaming. And today we find ourselves in this Imperial base where the Tau Supreme Commander on this planet, Commander Eli, has been captured by Imperial forces. He is in transit. He is being handed over to the Grey Knights to face their ferocious psychic interrogation. To recap, Commander Eli was cut off from his forces as he tried to exterminate the newly resurgent Tyranids of High Fleet Kraken. He was forced to abandon his battlesuit and take refuge in a ruined Imperial city. But the Tau Hunter Cadre sent to rescue him ended up in a ferocious firefight with the Raven Guard strike force moving through the ruins, and the Space Marines managed to capture the Tau commander. He is now in the hands of the Imperium and he is facing a terrible fate, but the forces of the Tau and their allies on this planet, the Eldar, have hatched a plan to rescue him. As the Tau Hunter Cadres launch diversionary attacks against this base, a kill team of Aspect Warriors will infiltrate and rescue the commander. But the Grey Knights will not be cheated of their prize so easily. The battle today is a kill teams game featuring Aspect Warriors versus Grey Knights. It's 250 points and it will take place inside this Imperial base. All of these Imperial Guard forces, they play no part in this battle. They are effectively terrain as they drive away the probing attacks of the Tau, which are in reality just a distraction while the Aspect Warriors infiltrate to rescue the commander. But the Grey Knights, they are monitoring what is going on and they will not allow this prize to be snatched so easily. Let's take a look at the kill teams. This 250 point Eldar Aspect Warrior kill team is incredibly elite and consists of a Howling Banshee Exarch with an Executioner, a Dire Avenger Exarch, and he has brought with him two brothers from his shrine, as has the Striking Scorpion Exarch. He has Scorpion's Claw. There is also Fire Dragon Exarch with a Fire Pike, and finally another Dire Avenger Exarch, and he has twin-linked Shuriken Catapults. So these Aspect Warriors are all incredibly deadly one-on-one, but so are the Grey Knights. Let's see who they have in their kill team. This Grey Knights kill team is 270 points, as we've decided we're not going to be using psychic powers in this scenario just because we can't think of a way to do it that won't unbalance the game. We can't have each Grey Knight generating a warp charge, and things like Cleansing Flame could just end the scenario instantly, so they will be without their psychic powers, and we've given them an extra 20 points to make up for that. And they have brought along two Terminators. They both have Nemesis Force Halberds, two Paladins each with Nemesis Falchions, two normal Grey Knights from a strike squad, and they have halberds, and another Grey Knight, and he has brought along with him a Psy Cannon. So the Grey Knights are outnumbered, but they are very, very dangerous. Let's see how the kill teams deploy. And the armies have deployed, or rather, the Eldar have deployed, for the Grey Knights are waiting for them to reveal themselves before they teleport in to take them out. The battlefield is 3 foot by 3 foot in the centre of this base, and the Eldar are moving in from this flank. The Avengers, the Banshee and the Fire Dragon are moving through the defensive works towards the detail of guardsmen guarding Commander Eli, but the Striking Scorpions are already stalking them. They have infiltrated right into the centre of the base and they are waiting to spring into action. The objective in this scenario for both kill teams is to wipe out the other. That is the only way that the Eldar will rescue Commander Eli, and it is the only way that the Grey Knights can guarantee that he remains their captive. The Eldar may not seize the initiative, as the Grey Knights will be teleporting in at the start of the game, going into Grey Knights turn 1. End of Grey Knights movement phase turn 1, and 4 out of the 7 members of the Nemesis kill team have arrived, led by the Paladin, who has teleported in. He is overlooking Commander Eli and, more importantly, the striking Scorpions who are stalking him, and the Paladin is supported by one of the Terminators who has also arrived, drawing a line of fire to the Scorpions. Meanwhile, on the far side of the base, the 2 members of the strike team have both deep struck behind these barricades, and they are under orders to take out the fire dragon. The Grey Knights consider him to be the greatest threat with his fire pike. So the Grey Knights are heavily outnumbered, but they always were going to be, relying on a teleport ambush. Let's see if their first shooting phase can even the numbers out a bit. Grey Knight shooting phase turn 1. End of Grey Knight shooting phase turn 1, and although both members of the strike team managed to bracket the Fire Dragon Exarch with their storm bolters, the bolt shells could not penetrate his ancient suit of aspect armour, and he is unharmed. And disappointingly for the Grey Knights, the Paladin and the Terminator both targeted the striking Scorpion Exarch, but the stealthy Aspect Warrior was unharmed as well. So the Grey Knights teleport ambush has not got off to a very good start, and they are severely outnumbered. Let's see what the Eldar do in their first turn. End of Eldar movement phase turn 1, and the Aspect Warriors have responded very quickly to the newly arrived threats. The Exarch and his Scorpions, they are all moving to concentrate their fire on the newly arrived Terminator. They can't charge him because they infiltrated, but with a hail of shuriken fire they may be able to take him out. The Paladin is the target of the Dire Avenger Exarch, and there is another Dire Avenger moving up in support. The Howling Banshee Exarch is moving as quickly as she can towards the centre. She knows that there is very little in this base that can take her on in close assault. Meanwhile, the Fire Dragon is moving towards the centre as well. He knows his fire pike is by far the most effective way his kill team have of dealing with the heavily armoured Grey Knights Terminators, and the other Dire Avenger Exarch and the last Dire Avenger are moving to return fire against the newly arrived Grey Knights behind these barricades. The Eldar are looking like they may be in a very good position. Let's see how they get on in their first shooting phase. End of Eldar shooting phase turn 1, and even though both striking Scorpions and the Exarch all hit and all wounded the Terminator, his mighty armour proved impenetrable to the shuriken pistol fire, and the Scorpions have battle focused away from him. And likewise, the suit of Terminator armour of the Paladin resisted all of the fire from the Dire Avenger Exarch and the other Dire Avenger over here. So the Terminators on this side of the base are standing firm. The Eldar have managed to take one of the Grey Knights out. The Dire Avenger Exarch took out the nearest member of this strike team with a burst from his Avenger catapult, but the other Avenger had no effect with his fire. So, with only 3 Grey Knights on the table against 9 Aspect Warriors, things are already looking like they are going the Eldar's way, but fortunately they don't seem to have an answer at the moment to the Grey Knight's Terminators. Let's see if any more arrive at the start of Grey Knight's turn 2. End of Grey Knight's movement phase turn 2, and they have been bolstered by the arrival of another 2 members of their kill team. The Grey Knight brother with a Psy Cannon has deep struck, and he has a Dire Avenger in his sights, and the Paladin and the Terminator have been reinforced by the arrival of the second Paladin. Meanwhile, the Paladin that arrived at the start of turn 1 is moving in to take on the Striking Scorpion Exarch, while the newly arrived brother member of his squad and the Terminator are going to give fire with their Stormbolters. And the one remaining Grey Knight behind these barricades, he has hunkered down and he is going to try to take out some of the Eldar firepower, probably a Dire Avenger with his Stormbolter. Let's see how the Grey Knights get on in their second shooting phase. End of Grey Knight shooting phase turn 2, and bolstered by the arrival of their brothers, they have been far more effective. This Grey Knight behind the barricades opened fire with his Stormbolter and took out a Dire Avenger, and the other Dire Avenger was blown to pieces by shots from the newly arrived Grey Knight with Psy Cannon. Meanwhile, the Terminators have had limited success against the Striking Scorpions. The Paladin that is planning to charge the Exarch has managed to wound him with his Stormbolter, but the newly arrived Paladin and the Terminator had no effect when they targeted the other Striking Scorpion behind this barricade. So, a much better turn from the Grey Knights. Let's see if the Paladin can take out the Striking Scorpion Exarch going into Grey Knight's Assault Phase turn 2. End of Grey Knight's Assault Phase turn 2, and wading through the Overwatch fire of the Exarch, the Paladin ploughed into him. His mighty Terminator armour protected him from the snapping Scorpion's claw, but in return the agile Eldar Exarch ducked and weaved his way through the slashing Nemesis Falchions. They have done no damage to each other, and they remain locked in combat, bringing Grey Knight's turn 2 to an end and going into Eldar turn 2. End of Eldar turn 2 movement phase, and the Aspect kill team have started to allocate their targets. The Dire Avenger Exarch has decided that he is more than capable of taking out the lone Grey Knight over behind these barricades, and the other Dire Avenger Exarch is moving to take out the Grey Knight with a Psy Cannon that has just arrived. The Banshee continues her headlong rush to the centre of the base, and the Fire Dragon Exarch has hopped over the barricades, and he has now brought this Paladin into range of his fire pike. Meanwhile, a Striking Scorpion is coming to the aid of his Exarch against the Paladin, while the last Striking Scorpion is also moving up in support. If the Eldar can take out both of the Grey Knight's Paladins this turn, it may well be enough to tip this game in their favour. Let's see how the Eldar get on in their second shooting phase. End of Eldar shooting phase turn 2, and they have been deadly. This Dire Avenger Exarch eliminated the Grey Knight behind these barricades with a hail of shuriken fire, as did the other Dire Avenger Exarch. He targeted the newly arrived brother with a Psy Cannon, and he gunned him down in short order. And even worse news for the Grey Knights, the Fire Dragon Exarch managed to incinerate the newly arrived Paladin with his fire pike. But at least the Striking Scorpions did not manage to do any damage to the Terminator with their shuriken pistols. Let's see how the Exarch gets on against the lone remaining Paladin. He will have a Scorpion charging in to help him in Eldar Assault Phase turn 2. End of Eldar Assault Phase turn 2, and the Striking Scorpion Exarch did manage to wound the Paladin with his Scorpion's Claw, whilst the other Striking Scorpion charging in failed to penetrate the mighty Terminator armour. In return, with a cry of rage, the Paladin chopped through the Scorpion Exarch with his Nemesis Falchions, but he remains locked in combat with the other Scorpion. Not many Grey Knights left on the table, but they have one more brother to arrive Will that help? Let's see. Going into Grey Knights, turn 3. End of Grey Knights, turn 3, movement phase, and the last remaining member of their kill team has arrived. The last Terminator has deep struck, and he is joined at these barricades by the other Terminator. They are going to ignore the close Eldar targets. They really need to take out the Fire Dragon Exarch with his deadly fire pike. Meanwhile, the Paladin remains locked in combat with a striking Scorpion. So, the Grey Knights have only 3 brothers. Can they triumph against twice that number of Aspect Warriors? Well, they'll have to shoot some down first in Grey Knight shooting phase, turn 3. End of Grey Knight shooting phase, turn 3, and the 2 Grey Knights Terminators managed to hit the Fire Dragon Exarch with 4 bolter rounds, but only 1 penetrated his ancient suit of aspect armour. But he is wounded. Unfortunately for the Grey Knights, he is still alive and deadly. We have one ongoing assault. Let's see if the Paladin can triumph over this striking Scorpion in Grey Knights assault phase, turn 3. End of Grey Knights assault phase, turn 3, and the striking Scorpion once again failed to penetrate the Paladin's mighty suit of Terminator armour, and in return the Paladin obviously now has the measure of these Aspect Warriors, as he absolutely sliced him to pieces with his falchions. 3 hits, 3 wounds, and the Aspect Warrior was dead. Still, the Eldar still look to have the advantage. Let's see if they can press it in Eldar turn 3. End of Eldar turn 3, movement phase, and as the guard detail who are escorting Commander Rely finally realise that they are under attack and close in around the Tau Commander, the Howling Banshee Exarch acrobatically leaps over their heads as she makes for the Paladin. He has more problems as the last striking Scorpion is closing in behind him as well. Meanwhile, the 2 Dire Avengers and the Fire Dragon are all moving in support, and they're going to try and take out the Terminators with their fire, whilst their close combat brother and sister take down the Paladin. That's the plan anyway, going into Eldar turn 3 shooting phase. End of Eldar shooting phase, turn 3, and although the Terminator that arrived by deep strike managed to withstand the fire of this Dire Avenger Exarch and the Fire Dragon Exarch, a long range shot from the other Dire Avenger Exarch took him out. Meanwhile, as the Paladin was watching the Banshee somersault towards him, he was shot in the back by the sneaky striking Scorpion. He went down as well. There is now only 1 Grey Knight Terminator left, and as the Banshee has not fired, it looks like he is going to be charged by her in Eldar assault phase turn 3. End of Eldar assault phase turn 3, and the Grey Knights are still in this game as the Howling Banshee Exarch leapt towards him. The last Grey Knight Terminator managed to wound her with his Stormbolter. Then as she swung her Executioner, taking big chunks out of his Terminator armour, he managed to save both wounds with a 5 and a 6, using his armour's invulnerable save. In return, he hefted his Nemesis Force Halberd and cut the screaming alien in half. So a victory there for the Grey Knights, but he is alone against quite a few Aspect Warriors. Let's see what he can do going into Grey Knight turn 4. End of Grey Knight's movement phase turn 4, and the lone remaining Grey Knight Terminator has one hope. He hopes that his armour will protect him against the Avengers and the Scorpion, but he knows he needs to take out the Fire Dragon with the fire pike. So he has set off towards him. Let's see if he can gun him down or chop him apart in close assault. Going into Grey Knight shooting phase turn 4. End of Grey Knight's turn 4, and with a blast from his Stormbolter, the last Grey Knight Terminator gunned down the Fire Dragon Exarch, taking his last wound. With no assaults, that's the end of Grey Knight's turn 4. Can the last Terminator survive the hail of shuriken fire that will be coming at him? Let's see, going into Eldar turn 4. End of Eldar turn 4 shooting phase, and as a hail of shuriken fire takes down the last Grey Knight Terminator. The Dire Avengers then turn their weapons on the guardsmen surrounding Commander Rely. Having gunned them all down, the striking Scorpion grabs the Tau Commander and prepares to escort him to safety. It is an Eldar victory. They have lost 6 Aspect Warriors from their kill team, but they have eliminated all of the Grey Knights and they have saved the Tau Supreme Commander. Doubtless he will be looking to get back into a battle suit as quickly as possible and make the Imperium pay for what they have put him through. This has been a very fun game. Very short, very easy to play, but with a great story and a happy ending if you're a Tau or an Eldar anyway. Thanks very much for watching. Please subscribe to our channel and we will keep producing as many Warhammer 40,000 battle reports as we can. Let's hope the Eldar and Commander Rely can sneak their way back past all these guardsmen. See ya!